Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, bringing you your October new moon report for the 16th or the 17th of October, depending on where you are in the world. In California Pacific time, it will be on the 16th. So in this report, I'm going to first talk about the planetary placements that are going to be activated on this new moon. Then I will talk a little bit more about the significance of this new moon, including the nakshatras and how we can see the energy play out. And then in the end, I will talk about Navratri, which is this great celebration to the mother goddess, to the Shakti, okay, which is celebrated twice a year in India, both in the spring and the fall. After this new moon, we're going to go into the fall equinox, right? So it's a great time of changing from the seasons. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the end. Just before I get started, I wanted to just reiterate that I am a Vedic astrologer. And in Vedic astrology, we use the sidereal zodiac, which if you are used to traditional Western or tropical astrology, it might be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to make another video sort of delineating the difference, okay, between the sidereal zodiac and the tropical zodiac. So stay tuned for that. Okay, in the meantime, let's get started with this report. So on the 16th or the 17th of October, in a few days, we will be having this new moon falling in the sidereal sign of Virgo at the very last degrees of Virgo in the nakshatra of Chitra. Now, Chitra is a really special and powerful nakshatra, and I will talk a little bit more about that. But just to give you an idea, this is the second new moon that we're having in the sidereal sign of Virgo. A month ago, we had the new moon falling in the beginning degrees of Virgo in the nakshatra of Uttara Falguni, okay? So Virgo is being activated twice for these new moons. Virgo is the sign of purity, right? Along with this new moon, so the sun and the moon are going to be conjunct at the very last degrees, we will have an aspect to this new moon from Mars sitting directly opposite in the sidereal sign of Pisces, in Revati Nakshatra, okay? So Mars is in the sign of deep emotions during this new moon, okay? Let's go over the rest of the planets and then I'll continue with just the significations of the new moon. So the rest of the planets, we will start with Mercury. Why is Mercury important for this new moon? Because Mercury is the Lord of Virgo. So the Lord and the placement of the Lord is very important. Now, Mercury went into retrograde earlier today, or maybe even last night, depending on exactly where you are. So Mercury is going to be in its retrograde motion during this new moon. This gives a big significance because the Lord is going backwards, all right? So the moon is dark. We're ready to purify. Mars is retrograde. It's in the sign of depth. And Mercury is retrograde, okay? And it's in the sign of Libra, which is the sign of the other, the sign of the people, the sign of taking into account other people in your life. This is extremely important. Now, when any planet is retrograde, we're going to feel it more on the internal level, right? It's not an outward sort of energy. It's a internalizing, reviewing, right? Moving backwards, taking a internal look. So in this full moon, Mercury is going to play a significant role, all right? Just to touch on the other planetary placements, we have Venus sitting in the sidereal sign of Leo. We have Jupiter in its own sign of Sagittarius. So this is going to lend us to being inspired more in this new moon, all right? And it's by itself finally. And then we have Saturn also in its own sign of Capricorn, which will help us to see what hard work we need to take in order to bring about the changes that we wish to implement during this new moon cycle. Then we have Rahu in Mrigashira Nakshatra in Taurus, which is actually aspecting this moon as well in Virgo with its 5th aspect. And then we have Ketu in Jyeshta Nakshatra, okay? Ketu does quite well in Jyeshta Nakshatra, and it brings us the wisdom of what we know to be true. Okay, so I think that covers all the planets. Let's get started on the significance of this new moon. So, this new moon is happening in the nakshatra of Chitra. Chitra Nakshatra is a very beautiful nakshatra, actually. You know, it's exactly the 14th nakshatra out of the 27. The energy of Chitra Nakshatra is one that is soft, okay? It's Mridu Nakshatra. It is not like a cruel or harsh nakshatra, but it is known as a tamasic nakshatra. Again, I've talked to you about the gunas, and there's nothing good or bad about these gunas. It just describes a quality. Now, why is it considered a tamasic nakshatra? Because it is the energy of creation. The deity of this nakshatra is Vishwakarma, or the celestial divine architect, right? It is the deity that builds, that creates something. In order to create something, first we must have a vision. And in order to create something, we start from a clean slate. So this new moon is going to be really a great opportunity for us to purify the sign of Virgo, right? Purity. And then allow the space to come in so that our highest ideals, because Virgo is also that of not only purity, but a sort of orderliness, right? And Chitra is one of the symbols of Chitra is a jewel or a pearl, right? So bringing something beautiful from the tamasic realm. So what is the tamasic realms? It is the realm of earth. It is the realm of heaviness, of density. And from within that earth, or from within the depth of the ocean, right? From all of that pressure, or if you think about a pearl, right? From all of that friction, irritation, or if you think about a gem, from all of that pressure of the tamas, comes something beautiful, comes a shining, crystal clear gem, or a shining, lustrous pearl, okay? So that is the symbolism of Chitra Nakshatra, bringing something beautiful out of the depths of our darkness. With Mercury being in the nakshatra of Swati going retrograde, one of the ways that we are going to see where this irritation or this heaviness occurs is through our relationships. It's one of the ways that this moon is going to highlight to us where we still hold on to our darkness around things and how that can be transformed. So with Mars opposite this full moon, see now Mars is the planetary lord of Chitra Nakshatra. So usually Mars's 7th influence can be a little bit harsh, but this time Mars's 7th influence, so because it's 7th influence, because it's 7 houses away, all right? So this time Mars's 7th influence is going to help us to take action and to be clear, to be able to see clearly where that darkness can be transformed into something beautiful, something shining, and something bright. Vishwakarma, being the deity, being the divine architect, can take the raw materials of this tamas and build something brilliant. And that is why Chitra, the literal translation, means not only a beautiful picture or a beautiful structure, but something brilliant and shining. All right, so this is the opportunity that this new moon gives us. Mars being in the sign of Pisces, the depths of the emotion, our emotions might get churned up a bit, right, during this new moon, but it shows us where in our minds we need to purify. Like if we're feeling discordant emotions, this is the realm that we have to bring light to. This is the realm that we need to restructure. And how can we bring a restructuring? By purifying what needs to be let go of. So we have a clean slate in order to build upon. It's a very potent new moon. I know I say that about all the new moons, but this one especially, because it gives us the chance to uplift our mental and emotional feelings and workings. You know, a lot of times we just are on autopilot. We think that we are like this or we are like that. And this new moon gives us the chance to reflect as to what is really possible. Are we really somebody who worries all the time, or is that just a pattern that needs bringing light to? And then having faith, developing faith is the structure we need to put into place. Are we the kind of person who tends to get easily angered? So this new moon can bring awareness to that. And instead, we can bring in the structure of forgiveness. Okay, does that make sense? So on and so forth. We can bring this purification and seeing that we are not necessarily at what we think we are. But these are just the structures that we have put into place, the constructs of our mind that we are running from. And these constructs can be changed and altered, and something beautiful and shining that reflects the light can be manifest through this for the whole month, right? Because the new moon is the energy that subtly carries throughout the entire month until the next new moon. And the next new moon is when we're going to celebrate Diwali, which is the biggest celebration of the Vedic year or the Hindu year, right? It is the festival of light. So let's talk a little bit about Navratri, which is happening starting the day after this new moon. It literally means 9 nights. Navratri. Nav is 9. Rat is night. Navratri. And it is a great celebration in India. I mean, this is what I love about the Indian culture, is that we celebrate. Everything is a celebration. Yeah, everything is a celebration to the gods and the goddesses and the powers of creation and the powers that be. Even things that feel uncomfortable are celebrated, right? Because it's all a part of the whole. It's a very holistic understanding. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about Navratri. So it is a celebration of the goddess or of the Shakti. Now, depending on where you are in India, it's celebrated in a myriad of ways. The first 3 nights are the celebration of, well, depending on where you are, in some places it's a celebration of Durga, and other places it's a celebration of Saraswati. The second 3 nights is Lakshmi, and the third 3 nights, depending on where you are, is either Durga or Saraswati. Some people go from Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, yes, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Durga. Other people go from Tamas, Rajas, Sattva, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. But either way, all of the goddesses are worshipped and appropriated. In Gujarat, which is where my family is from, we have the best celebration. Actually, as a child, this was my favorite celebration because we would dance all night to the goddess, okay? And we would have this beautiful altar set up in the middle of the hall, right? And then we would dance together in a circle using the same 5 repetitive steps. And so what happens, you get induced into a state of transcendental bliss. This was my first trance experience, my first blissed out experience of going into another state of consciousness by dancing and worshiping all together as a community the Divine Mother, the Divine Shakti. And the story is we are worshiping and celebrating and thanking her for her being able to uplift us and overcome our lower qualities, overcoming the darkness, okay? So this starts on the 17th and continues for 9 nights. And then in the end, especially in Calcutta, they have another night in the end of Navratri called Dasera. And it's a huge festival in Calcutta where they celebrate the ultimate victory of Ma Durga against the demonic forces, or the demonic forces here meaning the lower forces of ignorance. So this is a very appropriate energy to tap into, especially for those who are in the United States, because as you know, we have a very intense election coming up here, okay? And these energies are just helping us to seed the light so that when the darkness tries to be victorious, the light energy or the Shakti energy will prevail. So it's about coming into where it is in our own lives, in our own selves, in our own minds, that we carry this darkness, because the external is a reflection of our internal. And the reason that things are being created is because our collective consciousness is residing in those places. And so what is our point of power? Our point of power isn't really to go out and to fight and create more disharmony in the world, right? We can't change other people. We can only change ourselves. And there's nobody separate from the collective. There's nobody that's apart from the collective. We're all participating in the creation of reality, right? So where is our point of power in this? It is in looking at our own darkness and being able to bring light to it. And some of that process is difficult. The energy of Ma Durga or Kali, right, of the destructive forces is strong. It's not sweet and light and fluffy. It's strong because certain things need to be strong in order to purify ourselves. Because until we purify ourselves and come from a state of relative cleanness within ourselves, and I'm not just talking about the body, I'm talking about the entire being, until we can see this darkness in ourselves and accept it and reckon it and give ourselves, empower ourselves. See, with this with our own inner Shakti. Everybody has it. Empower ourselves to be able to be like, okay, this needs changing. Until we can see it, we can't change it. So this new moon gives us the opportunity to be able to reckon with that tamas inside of ourselves and purify it so that we can emerge victorious, just like Adi Shakti Ma, Durga Ma is victorious. We can emerge a beautiful, lustrous pearl, or a sparkling vibrant gem from this tamas that we are purifying. Okay, so I hope that helps. I will be making another report for the next full moon, which will be happening on Halloween, October 31st. And until then, please enjoy the life. I wish you all a very happy Navratri. Celebrate your Shakti, celebrate your energy, your vitality, and do what needs to be done in your own lives to emerge victorious over your own inner demons and darkness, because we all have the power of the goddess on our side. Okay, thank you so much. Until next time, enjoy the life. Namaste. Thank you.